Welcome to another edition of the East Idaho Prepcast on IdahoSports.com, where we're going to break down the top stories from Districts 5 and 6 of East Idaho, or of Idaho high school athletics. This show is brought to you by Ideal, the Idaho College Savings Program, helping you pay for the cost of college and helping your kids get to and through college almost, and if not, debt-free. My name is Joel Richardson. Let's bring in my co-host, Sean Kane. Sean, it's like you talked to the football gods and you said, football gods, I don't know what their names are, but football gods, Peyton Manning, Eli Manning, I'm going to need the Bears to be good this year. And they said,
oh, that's not where I thought you were going. Be honest. Keep going.
Yeah, this is good. This is good. I've been practicing this one all week, Sean. I need the Chicago Bears to be good, guys. And they said, that's fine, but you're going to have to give up something. And you said, how about a few East Idaho teams not getting to the championship this year? And they said, that'll do. How do you feel about that, Sean? How do you feel about your Bears doing so well, but giving up a little bit for that glory?
Well, if you're a Bears fan, you would say absolutely. No,
absolutely.
No questions, totally. Never second thoughts. But no, it's been fun. It's been fun having something to cheer for. We all can't be blessed with, BYU as our favorite team and things, some of us have like real hard South Side roots that, you just grow up with it, but no, it's tough. But, I think it was the thing we said, a lot is that's why you play the game, right? Like talking to coaches and prepping this week, last week's action, it's like XYZ, all phases of the game, special teams.
Yep.
But pretty much everyone still said, that's why you play the game. You got to play the game, and that's what happened. A lot of games were played.
Well, let's go through the games that were played. We're only going to hit, really, unfortunately, we don't have a ton of time. So we're going to hit Rigby. We're going to hit the Hillcrest game. You were there, Sean, broadcasting with Tim Belknap. And we're going to hit the Ririe Aberdeen game. But we will definitely highlight still Sugar, West Side, and then, of course, Grace going down to the behemoth who is Kendrick. But let's first talk about 6A, where we do have an East Idaho team going to the state championship. They're trying to repeat. It could be they've won 5 out of the last 6 championships. They're going for 6 out of the last 7, Sean. Rigby Timberline this coming Saturday at the ICCU Dome. But let's first hit Rigby Rocky Mountain. And really, 40-21, Rigby rips Rocky Mountain. And Rocky Mountain's got a couple guys who are going to be playing D1 football. Rigby as well, but maybe on a lesser level, not necessarily D1, but NAIA, stuff like that. But Rigby, the better team overall than Rocky Mountain.
Yeah, and I mean, Rigby was ahead pretty much throughout the game. I think Rocky Mountain got a touchdown late that made it seem a little more closer than it actually was. But
yeah,
I mean, come on, Amani Morel, five rushing touchdowns. He's done it all year for multiple years. This team has been just a playoff team. Like everyone has their doubts, and we go through these progressions of Rocky Mountain and Timberline, and Coeur d'Alene's back now. They're healthy. They're gonna be in there. Watch out. But really, when all the dust clears, it was always Rigby, right?
Yeah,
I mean, that's the thing. They've played all well, and the one little blurb on their schedule is going to be that BK game. Everyone's going to talk about that, right? But no one's going to talk about it if they come away with that Milk Bowl championship on Saturday, right? No one will care that they lost to Bishop Kelly. They're in the championship of 6A football.
And when that happened, when that loss happened, the sentiment around the program was we'd rather have that loss now than later. They were down a couple big stars in that game. And I think knowing that, okay, like we're going to take our lumps now, and we were down a couple guys, but the game was still relatively close. We're going to be just fine. I think that's one of those quality losses that you look at and say that was a big turning point. And I don't know if it was a turning point for Rigby necessarily, but a moment to say we're going to be just fine. Down a couple guys, we lose. We know what it feels like to lose. Let's not have that ever again. And they get a chance. They get a chance to continue that against Timberline this Saturday. What do you think Rigby needs to do against Timberline, who won their game 23-17? Closer, honestly, than I thought was going to be against Coeur d'Alene, Coeur d'Alene's really been trending up. And we got to shout out Skaggs, who was with them the whole way, right?
Oh, yeah.
We kind of gave him some grief early on in the year, like, oof, CDA. But man, Coeur d'Alene, they got
a run
back.
to the semifinal.
Yeah, exactly. Healthy, made a great run and a great game against a really good Timberline team. So got to congratulate Coeur d'Alene, our North Idaho buddies. So Timberline beats a good Coeur d'Alene game who really had nothing to lose, I think, at that point. House money, really. So Rigby, Timberline, what does Rigby got to do to defeat Timberline in this one?
Well, Rigby's just got to essentially stay true to who they are, right? They've got to run the ball, play really good defense, because you look at these score lines through this tournament, they've held teams to about just a little over 20 points, and they've scored 40, and I think that's what they've got to do. And Timberline's got a very good quarterback. They've got some really sure hand receivers, and they've also been running the ball well too. It'll be a good game. Timberline's a team that's got a bunch of D1 talent on there as well. And I did pick Timberline to beat Coeur d'Alene on Gem State game day last week. Everyone else went Coeur d'Alene. I did pick Timberline. I think Timberline, if you talk about trending teams, they're really the team. They took out, they basically take out Eagle, right? To win that championship.
Right.
Eagle loses a Rocky Mountain when they play. Timberline takes care of Middleton. They shut down one of the best running backs. That's why I find intriguing. Perez from Middleton was held to nothing against Timberline. So can Timberline do that against Mine Morrell? I think that's really the battle. You're grabbing the popcorn and the Reed Dairy ice cream at the ICCU Dome to see.
I love it, dude. I love the shout out to Reed's Dairy Ice Cream, especially. Steve Faircloth chimes in and says the Potato Bowl. Oh, Steve Trujillo, excuse me. Steve Trujillo. I'm not sure if he's talking about Rigby Timberline or the Hillcrest game, but either way, Potato Bowls here in Idaho for sure coming up this weekend. Rigby Timberline. I think Rigby continues to feed Morrell, like you said, Sean. 5 rushing touchdowns for Amani Morrell. I said unleashed in one of the Instagram or Facebook posts that Rigby had shown, or maybe it was Idaho Sports player of the game or something, but we haven't seen that kind of production from Morrell in terms of touchdowns. I want to say all season, Sean. They've really mixed the ball around.
Balance.
Yeah. And we're going to talk about this in a second with Hillcrest, but it felt like Rigby, gave the guy who has been leading them all season, gave him the rock whenever they needed a score. And because that 5 touchdowns, and look, that also could have been just the play call, right? But we've seen Rigby be close to the line and not give it to Amani Morrell, right?
Yeah.
And we've seen Flowers take it himself or throw it in the end zone. But I just think it's not a coincidence that in the semifinal game, they fed it to the dude who has like 15 plus offers to go play at the next level in Amani Morrell. So I love that they unleashed him in this game. If that really is what happened, and the fact that he had 5 touchdowns tells me that they did give him the rock in those specific, short yardage moments, or in those moments where they were close enough to say, okay, Morrell, Amani, go do stuff. So I love that he was able to get that production in that game. And I say they play how they've been playing. All 3 facets have got to be strong against Timberline. Give Morrell the rock and let him work his stuff. With that, let's go into 5A as we teased out. The other star on this end, Hillcrest, is going to be playing Bishop Kelly after they defeat Twin Falls 44-20. You were at that game, Sean. What did you see from Tyson Sweetwood, who was also unleashed with 5 rushing touchdowns himself?
Well, I'll tell you this. The question is, right, if you're in 5A football, how do you stop Sweetwood? How do you stop him?
No one has yet.
And, in Twin Falls, slowed him down for a little bit. But he still ends the game with his own 5-piece and 280 yards of rushing. So, what he did really well is he hit some big pass plays as well that really opened it up. But credit to the Hillcrest offensive line, which is just really what been
so good,
the glue, the honey. A bunch of guys that are just probably not going to get the recognition that they deserve. And talking to Coach Mossholder before the game, kind of the same thing is that offensive line makes him look really good. Now, no discredit the Sweetwood. I mean, he is good. He makes guys miss. They went to heavy T formation to run the ball, and Sweetwood broke a couple of 80-yarders out in that game in the fourth quarter that put it away, because it was pretty close going into halftime, and then third quarter there was no scoring. I do have to give some credit to Twin Falls. Twin Falls came in with a pretty good game plan, hit some big plays, showed every right to be where they were in that game. But Hillcrest was just too strong, and really on the legs of Sweetwood took over that game. And it was fun to see being there. We had been there. I had been there once before. It's a cool stadium, and and in talking to some of the people, it was, everyone's been kind of maybe anticipating this matchup that they're going to face in the championship of BK. A couple years ago they lost to BK, and Sweetwood actually came in quarterback late into that game up at Boise State. So it would be a sweet revenge, I think, or to be able to take it back from Bishop Kelly this year. But just a phenomenal job by the whole team. The defense was strong. Special teams was good. Hillcrest got a safety at one point after a good punt. Just all facets of the game were pretty well done. Turnover here or there was it, but you never got the feeling like Hillcrest was in trouble. I mean, Twin Falls, give them credit. At some point they shift the momentum, and it was about the quietest I've ever seen that side of the Hillcrest fans be. But in the fourth quarter, let's not sugarcoat it. Sweetwood took advantage of all his skills and got it done.
Yeah, man. Got to congratulate that offensive line. They've just been so good, for so long this entire season. And some of those guys came back from last year. Some of these guys on the offensive line for Hillcrest were juniors, obviously, last year. They're starting this year as seniors. But coach said a lot of them came in as backups, got good reps, and so they had good, quality play time on those reps last year, which translated to this year. Something that Hillcrest has been doing really well is they've been able to put away teams early so they can get a lot of guys reps. And coach sends us stats every week after his games, Sean, and you and I have seen how many players are on his stat sheets, man. How many players are getting touches on the run and on the pass? Same thing goes for that offensive line. Really, these guys have been starters for a full season, maybe even a half from last year, and that shows. Sweetwood almost gets, he gets these runs off, he gets these touchdowns, and so often he goes in almost untouched. It really is phenomenal, and credit to that offensive line. Sweetwood owes the offensive line how many Java Expresses, right? Those mixed drinks, non-alcoholic, of course, for the kids. For all the just great blocking they've done all year long.
Yeah, because they blocked for Sargent as well. He went 15 carries, 79 yards and a touchdown. Ellen Miner went 6 touches for 22 yards. He unfortunately fumbled it. Sweetwood only had 19 carries and had 280, right, and 5 touchdowns. Mason Davis also ran once for 3 yards, but Sweetwood went 6 for 14, 146 yards through the air to 5 different receivers. So it's where Sweetwood had all the stats. It wasn't like he was the only one doing things. Like you still had to account for everyone on the nights. You couldn't leave your castle undefended.
Yeah, I like it. And really fast. So Hillcrest, Bishop Kelly, I think Hillcrest will continue the same thing they've done all year long. I know Coach Mossholder has done a good job of adjusting to different teams and their schemes. I know they've added a couple packages in the past few weeks. And so no doubt Mossholder will adjust for Bishop Kelly and how well they've done this year, including against Rigby. Maybe there's a coach between a call between Mossholder and Gonzalez. All right, coach, what did you see against Bishop Kelly? How did they beat you?
I think that call goes to Scott Berger, man.
That's true.
Skyline.
That's true.
They have a ton of respect for each other. In fact, as I was walking out through the crowd, some of the coaches or someone was saying, yeah, he's probably going to call Scott because this will lead into, Skyline, right? Skyline is a 2-point conversion away from being there again against their conference opponent, right? They go down 21-20 to Bishop Kelly up in Ada County, where you got the ball to Crockett. You had a chance. It sounded like it was kind of a low snap and couldn't get it in, but you had your best player with the ball with a chance to win against a team which I don't think anyone picked Skyline to win that game. That at least I talked to. I don't want to make assumptions, but anyone I talked to, really no one gave Skyline much of the shot, and well, boy, were we all wrong, because they were right there and had a chance to win it. So congratulations to Skyline, and just a phenomenal season, kind of up and down, finding their identity on offense, but the defense was just very good all year.
Yeah, and you knew the offense was going to come along. I think it could have. I really thought it was going to come along sooner, because Sean, you and I saw them play second, third week, and there were these glimpses of brilliance from their two quarterbacks. And I thought, okay, give it 2 more games and these guys will be humming. Took a step back against Hillcrest for sure. And that game was close, really, because those 2, almost 3 onside kicks. But throughout the season, them and Coeur d'Alene, right? They got better as the season went on there. They got some guys healthy. They figured out their offense. And I think we didn't give them enough credit of how well they were actually trending in that positive direction. So Skyline, they won't have Zion Crockett next year, but they should be ready to go for sure with all those guys that got good reps. And they took Bishop Kelly 21, or they almost took them 21-20, just couldn't finish that 2-point conversion midway through the fourth quarter. Congrats, Skyline. 3rd place trophy, right? Everyone the last week got a 3rd place trophy, those teams who lost. So Skyline gets a 3rd place trophy along with Sugar Salem. Sean, we got to mention it just briefly. Wow. No one from East Idaho is going to be in the 4A championship games. Sugar Salem goes down against Homedale.
And there was a lot of games Friday night. I was at Westmark Stadium and Hillcrest and Idaho Falls, but the announcer, the people next to us, or this is the Rigby score, this is this, and everyone's like, Sugar lost. We're like checking it, and I'm like, wow, I couldn't believe it. Homedale has, I don't know, lost to Sugar how many times in the past 10 years, and just came away with a win in the Dome, and just it was shocking. I feel like it was shocking. I knew this Homedale team was good. I just didn't know if they were going to be good enough to be how well Sugar had been playing all year. But congrats to them, and no one in the 4A. It's crazy.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's kind of bizarre, but Sugar will not be able to go for their 4th title in a row. So their 3-peat will stay as a 3-peat. Similar thing happened to Rigby, right? A couple of years ago, they were going for their 3, and they would have had, if they win this coming Saturday, it would have been 7 in a row, but instead it's 5 titles in 7 years if they win this Saturday, right? So kind of similar situation. Sugar, excuse me, there's so many teams. Sugar Salem will not be able to repeat as champions, and they will not have their 4th title in a row. Going to be interesting one, Homedale and Kimberly. This isn't the Magic Valley Prepcast, Sean, or
Treasure Valley
Prepcast, but Fruitland goes down,
which is almost more shocking to me.
That's more shocking, I think, than Homedale being Sugar. But that's for the Gem State game day. We'll let them sort that out. But that's going to be an interesting 4A championship game for sure. I think if Sugar wins the game last, Friday, Saturday, they would have won the next game. But they go down to Homedale. You got to win the games in front of you, right, Sean? We said that at the beginning of this show. All right. Speaking of which, let's go to 3A. Really our last one that we're going to highlight specifically. Let's first hit West Side. Sean, I got to take this away. Had to wear my West Side shirt one more time from West Side Football. Thank them again for the shirt. If you want to ever send Sean or I gear, we'll happily wear it on the show. Sean's got a Century hat on. I'm wearing my West Side shirt because West Side, even though they lost to Nampa Christian 20-6?
20-8, yeah.
28. They still have the best pep band in 3A, maybe even in the state, man.
Wow.
So shout out to the pep band still. But yeah, they go down 28 to Nampa Christian, Sean. I don't think many of us saw that coming.
No.
If anyone saw that coming, except for one, right? One dude said Nampa Christian.
Two people, Hayden from Northern Idaho,
right,
and the owner, Paul's Kingsbury. Friday, was it Friday? Yeah, Friday day, he dropped off some stuff at school, some gear for me, and we were in the parking lot, and a Century football coach that was there, Bill Vossis, and we were just kind of shooting the breeze about the games, and we were like, no, I don't think it, at West Side, no one really has a chance, and Bill was like that too, and Paul's like, I don't know. Nampa Christensen, and I saw them, the Pete Dice quarterback, and sure enough, he was right. I still, if you made me bet on West Side in the Dome in a semifinal, I'm probably taking West Side. I'm putting the money in on it. I'm not going to go back on that. But this Pete Dice quarterback and Nampa Christensen, and I've just proved everyone wrong, right? We should have had a little more eye-opening when they took down North Fremont. I kind of just put it as North Fremont played bad or something. I don't know. Didn't really think about it, but that should have been the eye-opening moment. But yeah, Nampa Christensen wins, and my prediction that someone from 3A wins, from East Idaho wins 3A is not feeling so strong now. I'm feeling a little weaker on that, my bold pick.
Well, let me give you some confidence, right? So Ririe Aberdeen, and maybe actually I'm not going to give you confidence because frankly,
you're not.
I'm sorry. Yeah, because Ririe has struggled. I'm just going to say they struggled the last 2 weeks against a New Plymouth team that no one, I think, thought was going to do well against Ririe, except for the New Plymouth coaches and the players. I talked to New Plymouth coaches during the week and at the game, and there was never a doubt. They're like, oh yeah, we have a great game plan, we're looking forward to this game, we think we can beat these guys. And then they almost did, right? 20-18. They were just a few throws away from losing, from winning. And then Ririe Aberdeen coaches, same thing. They had a great couple weeks of practice, some of the best practice they've had in terms of preparation. They go into that Ririe game, and Sean, they are 1.5 yards short. It was the end of the first half for sure, right? So anything could happen, but they were 0.5 yard short from scoring a touchdown, going down then 2, and then perhaps they would have the chance to go for the 2-point conversion and tie the game going into halftime. Instead, they miss it by 0.5 yard. They're in the shotgun. They go for the run. The play takes way too long to develop, unfortunately. Ririe gets a stop right before halftime with like a second on the clock. Ririe goes into halftime up. I think it was 8-0. I got my notes here. Yeah, it was 8-0 going into halftime. And that was essentially the difference. Third quarter, Ririe scores 6. They don't get the 2-point conversion. Aberdeen scores the third. They get 8. And that's your final. Both teams' defenses just completely pin their ears back and stop their team.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but Ririe scored right after, right at the start of third quarter too, right?
Yeah, they did. Yep.
And then there was nothing again. So Aberdeen
scored. Aberdeen scored in the third quarter, but that was it.
But if the Aberdeen would have scored in the first half, it would have been tied. Right. Essentially, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So I mean, Ririe, credit their defense. What a stop on defense. But Ririe was marching, and they had enough time on the clock to punch it in and then go for the 2-point conversion and perhaps tie up the game. And they get stopped, and that's really the difference. So Ririe, showing that they can be beat. And if you're a Nampa Christian team coming in hot like they are right now, and again, this is more Gem State game day stuff they'll do tomorrow night. But dude, Ririe, like we here on the East Side Prepcast, we need a little more from you guys going at this this Friday or Saturday against Nampa Christian, because Nampa Christian is totally hot. Ririe, hey, they keep finding ways to win. But yeah, we're a little less confident in our East Idaho 3A teams than maybe we were before last weekend.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, Nampa Christensen, beats North Fremont. What do? Run the ball.
Yep.
They beat West Side. What do? They run the ball.
Right.
What's Ririe do? Essentially a two-headed monster that runs the ball. And I think Ririe actually throws it occasionally a little more
They
than
do. They do.
But Nampa Christensen throws it quite a bit. I don't know what the stats were against Westside, but against North Tremont, Pete Dice chucked it up there about 20 times, which is pretty high for 4A or 3A football. I mean, at least this year and what we're normally looking at from these teams. So it's going to be an interesting game, but for both these programs, what a win it will be regardless. And I like that Riley's played some tough games, but man, I don't know.
Yeah. Hey, we got a comment here coming from Gabe Montero 7811. Let's go Bulldogs. Yes, let's go Bulldogs. Let's get some juice going. And look, Ririe's coaches are fantastic. Huntsman does a great job, and he's been so great working with. I've talked to him twice in the last month, and what a great dude. And I love his demeanor. And just, a great coaching staff. I'll tell you this, Sean, the passing plays they had, I want to say there were two, maybe there's just one passing play, but it ended up going to Coulter Lewis for 42-yard touchdown. Okay. A lot of that was yards after catch for sure, but they can pass the ball. But yeah, you're going to see a lot of Coulter Lewis, a lot of Garrett Van Noy, and then Moon, Braylon Moon can run the ball a little bit. But really, a healthy dose of the two-headed monster of Van Noy and Lewis. And then Moon can throw the ball. And if he can hit Lewis for a big one, like they did against Aberdeen, then there's definitely a chance there for a big chunk play in the air. And they may need that against Nampa Christian, if Nampa Christian gets going and maybe goes up a touchdown. But look, Ririe's offensive line played well enough against New Plymouth and against Aberdeen. I hope they have enough against Nampa Christian. Here, go ahead, and then we'll shout out Ryan.
Yeah, well, my thing is that if Ririe gets down in the game, because I think most of these games that Nampa Christian has won, they've been ahead,
right?
And I think that's kind of conducive to how they play in their offense. If Ririe doesn't get down early, I really like their chances. But if they have to, Ririe doesn't seem like they're built to come from behind from two scores.
Yeah,
there's not 30 extra minutes in the game, but that doesn't mean they can't, right? That's just like what I'm thinking now. But the way Nampa Christian has game managed and done some different things, I think they've really done a phenomenal job. But I think Ririe does have, like you just listed, enough weapons, right? Because a lot of times we're focusing in if we can stop this guy or this guy, but I think Ririe is that team that if we stop Van Noy, they have Coulter Lewis or a Moon, or they've got some other guy, like they've got the big names, but they have like a Dennis Rodman that can get a lot of rebounds. He might not score the points, but when it comes down to it, teams that get rebounds win games.
For sure. Hey, Skag says Nampa Christian is on a roll right now and look very impressive indeed. As good as Ririe has been, and right, Skaggs is right on. They have been finding a way to win, but it feels like they're playing really close to this 100%, Skaggs. And then he says Ririe cannot play from behind, and we saw that. We saw that with Ririe. We saw that with Aberdeen. Both those teams had a hard time staying in or getting back in the game. And New Plymouth almost took advantage of that against Ririe. New Plymouth could get back because they could throw the ball, get those chunk plays. Yep. And Ririe can. They just got to have super solid blocking if they're going to continue to play their game, which I think they will, and I think they'll have success. But yeah, their defense has got to pin your ears back, get that stop, and then your offense will start humming for sure. Want to appreciate Ryan for hopping on the show. Ryan, the North Idaho Prepcaster, always does a great job. Travis McKay says, "Let's go Hillcrest." Indeed, we talked about them already, Travis. But for sure, I'm feeling. Look, here on the East Side Prepcast, if I had to bet, my money's on Hillcrest. My money is on Rigby in both those games. I wish I could put all my chips in right for Ririe. I just, like Ryan said, they're playing close to the sun, and it's just, I want them, and this is uncharted territory. Let's remind everyone, Ririe has never been in this situation, and when they have been, it was 6-man football, way back when. But what, it's been 78 plus years
since they
won districts, exactly. And so this is all new for them. But dude, these are the guys. You already mentioned their names. They have
my question is
the personnel to do it.
When Ririe plays, is Matt Harris the PA?
He has been the last two games I broadcast. I was at the Ririe Aberdeen game and the Ririe New Plymouth game, and Matt Harris did a fantastic job. Fantastic job.
Pete Dice for 3 yards.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Oh, Pete's over the touchdown. Yeah, no, he does a good job. He keeps it nice and neutral for sure. Shannon Barnes says, "Go Rigby." I think that's Rigby.
Red Devils, the Red Devils.
Yeah, the Red Devils. Yeah,
Red Devils. Yeah, playoff football. The old. They just bring that back.
I love it, dude. Yeah,
we got too many Trojans and Wolves and Bulldogs and
It's all about the unique names, right?
I probably can't. Yeah. Well, yeah. You probably just can't change the school's mascot willy-nilly. Sorry. That was my bad.
Well, I don't know. I don't care. Do it. And then we got a comment here from Gabe Montero again saying, "We love Matt Harris and Ririe, 100%. Dude, I got a great story about Matt, actually. So I'm at the game preparing last Friday or Thursday. It was Thursday. And Matt's on the field. I got to come back to Ryan in a second. Matt's on the field kicking field goals. He hit one from 20, 25, and I want to say from 30. I think the 30-yarder was short.
What's his eligibility like?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we could use him somewhere. So Matt Harris was nailing 25-yarders, man. And Matt, he's not old like you, Sean. But I am
kind of elderly.
I kid. No, he's older than both of us. He's no spring chicken anymore, but the dude was nailing those field goals. So, and Gabe says tradition. Every game we do that. So there you go. I guess I'd missed it the last few games, cool. But yeah, they're always kicking field goals. Pre-game.
Gabe's a offensive lineman, right, Gabe?
Ooh, Gabe, let us know, man. This is the East Idaho Prepcast, Gabe. We're friends.
99% sure.
And then Gabe says he hit 50. No way.
No way.
He hit a 50-yarder.
Send the video.
Video or what? Or it never happened.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're waiting for Gabe to confirm his. He says D-line.
Okay, I was close.
Well, but you would think 3A. Most guys play both ways on offensive and defensive lines. So
it's a bold move, Cotton.
Yeah, that's right. But we're going to see what it pans out. Ryan Skaggs says, P.S. Coach Moss, hold a rooting for my pick, Hillcrest to win 5A, even if everyone thinks I'm a hater, LOL. Yeah, no, Skaggs definitely got reamed, right? A little, maybe not reamed, but
for some reason he got the blunt of that. And he wasn't the only one that didn't pick Hillcrest. I mean, I picked, I'm rooting for Century when they play Twin Falls. Ryan's from Lakeland. I get it.
Cheer for Lakeland.
I just posted the Sandpoint tennis coach just posted a picture of Ryan Skaggs via like 2017. He's really grown up. I'm proud of him. I put your name on it, Ryan. I'm sure you saw it.
Little baby Ryan, all grown up and making the right picks, making the bold picks. Yeah, Ryan says I did pick Hillcrest to win it. Yeah, and he did, right?
Yeah, he did.
He was just saying, yeah, he said it and he says, yeah, that's the funny thing. He picked him, but while he picked him, he was talking about how good Lakeland was, which they were good. They were just, hey, everyone has been too much for Hillcrest except for Rigby a few weeks back. All right. Sean, this has been really fun. Really quick, Grace. I mean, no one's beat Kendrick. No one's really gotten close to Kendrick. Except I think there was one
Union of football.
Yeah. So yeah,
Grace had a phenomenal season.
Season.
Draper and company. Dad's the coach, son's the quarterback. Just great. A great team. You have Yost, you have the Kimballs. You had so many weapons, so many good players, and this is a good football team. But man, Kendrick is they're playing in the wrong division or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But man, they are so good, and congrats to them as well. And it'll be an interesting, all North final.
Yeah, for sure. And I saw a great interview. The North Idaho guys, Skaggs, and Hayden. Right? They had Ty Kep. Is it Kep? Kep? I always want to say Ty Cobb every time I see his last name. But anyway, they had the head coach of Kendrick on the show. And I thought it was really good. And I felt bad. He almost had to explain himself. Hey, we're not trying to run up the score, but we're also we're trying to mix guys in, and we're putting in, second, third stringers. But again, it's 8-man football. So how many second, third stringers do you have? And you can't stop them from running a play, Skag says Kep. Thanks, thanks, Skags. So anyway, I felt bad that coach had to kind of like explain himself. Like, hey, we're not trying to be poor sportsmen, show poor sportsmanship. We're just playing. And
well, it's it's not like it's
but it's
so
still
much
man
different.
Football, right?
Basketball, you can't just like. I mean, I guess I could just take a knee and punt it. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, but you got to get the reps, right? Coach Mossler talked to us in the offseason. These kids only have so many snaps.
They only have so many snaps, and Grace is probably, even though the score is what it is probably one of the better teams they played all year.
Yeah,
I mean, that's just the tip of the hat to how good Kendrick is. Grace was not a bad team.
Yeah, for sure. So anyway, this was more supposed to be about Grace, but I thought that was cool that Kep went on the show and talked about their team and how awesome they've been. But yeah, Grace goes up against the behemoth Kendrick, plays their best. Gavin Draper, what a cool opportunity to coach with his dad. And that team has been so fun to follow the last few years. So congrats to Gavin and his crew for a really solid third place finish and a job well done throughout the year. Sean, that's football. Next week, we'll talk about the championship games. Hopefully, we'll bring home a championship to East Idaho in Rigby, in Hillcrest, and Ririe. But if not, it's been a phenomenal season for all three of those teams. And looking forward to seeing in the other games what goes on. We got Carey going, and of course Kendrick. Should be very interesting. And then really interested to see how Kimberly and Homedale go in 4A. Skaggs finally says Ty was insanely complimentary to Idaho schools. They play 4 quarters no matter what. 2 years ago when they played the Washington schools, every single one they played quit at end of first quarter or at the half. Yeah, I remember hearing about that.
Yep.
And so, yeah, really cool that the schools have you got the running clock going by what, second quarter, third quarter. They don't do running clock till the second half, but no one's quit on them, right? And that's really,
I remember
really cool.
that. They're just packing up and leaving, and it's kind of
so
it is what it is.
For sure. So credit to the Idaho teams and the coaches. Again, we say here in the East Idaho, let's say it for all of Idaho, we have the best coaches, some of the best coaches in the West, maybe in the upper Northwest. All right, let's finish off with this, Sean. We had some signings, some college signings, some kids from high school that we've talked about all year long, all fall long. And the last few years, they're going to be going and playing at the next level.
Very cool.
First, Justin Anderson, Sean, where's he going?
Boise State. I had no insider information on that, Joel. Sometimes I do. I had no insider information, and it was cool just to see that come across the board. And when they play in Idaho, I'm sure Justin will be right at home, right at all those courses around the Boise area. I don't know where Boise State calls their home course. That'd be something to learn. But and to be honest with you, I guess I didn't even know Boise State had a golf team. But I guess I would assume they would. But
right.
But now they've just been put on the map. I mean,
absolutely,
that's a big signee. It'll be fun to follow Justin's career as he moves on to that Division I of Boise State, and it'll be really exciting.
Yeah. And then Highlands Devery Bell, she plays soccer. She's going to be playing at ISU with her sister, right? That's super exciting. Highlands Spencer Van Orden, he signed to run track at Texas Tech.
Oh, it'll be fun to watch him.
We don't talk about Texas Tech these days, okay?
Oh, come on. What about Houston?
That's right. I know, dude. The Houston, man.
Former Century players playing.
Yeah,
he's been pretty fun to watch. Isaiah
for sure. No, Texas Tech is fine. But no, super excited for Spencer Van Orden. Highlands great hurdler, signed to run track at Texas Tech.
Best and then ever.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, Van Orden, he's going to go down as probably one of the best track people in Idaho forever. I mean, I don't know how else he cut it.
He's been winning since I think his freshman year, if I'm not mistaken, right?
And he's nationally ranked and
breaking records all over the place.
Oh yeah.
So congrats to Spencer Van Orden, man. And then Pokey's Abby Lusk, dude. She's not playing volleyball, as good of as a volleyball player as she is. She's going to Gonzaga to play hoops. She actually signed this evening about 6:00. I got a notification on my phone that Pokey was doing like a Facebook Live kind of thing.
Okay.
And there she was signing with Gonzaga to play hoops.
I did know that Gonzaga one ahead of time, by the way.
Oh, nice. Right on.
But I think she said that before. Yeah. She just officially did it like the whole get the banquet table out with your flag and signing, which is cool.
Yeah,
I
love that they do that.
And if another former East Idaho player, Taylor Smith, who played at Century, she's at Gonzaga as well. So that'll be kind of interesting too. But I think Abby Lusk had about, if you're a college and had a girls basketball team, I think you offered her, a tractor, a bag of money, whatever it took. But
that's right.
That's from a movie. I'll see if you can know what movie that is.
That was such a good line. I thought you had made it up. No, I don't have the movie there.
All right.
Sorry. I feel terrible now. And then ironically, well, maybe not ironically, but ISU offered her, I think, I'm not sure if that was for volleyball or basketball. I didn't get that, but she was offered by ISU to go play one of those sports, maybe both.
It was basketball.
She decides to go basketball. Okay. But she decides to go to Gonzaga and take her talents to North Idaho to go hang out with Skaggs and the Gonzaga Bulldogs. So congrats to all them, all those signees, Justin Anderson, Devery Bell going to play Sadri Cook with the ISU women's soccer team, and then Spencer Van Orden and Abby Lusk. I'm sure there were other signees, but we've been talking about them, Sean, the last few years. Really excited.
And we'll be talking about Abby Lusk and Spencer Van Orden coming up, right?
Yeah.
As girls basketball started, Joel.
That's right. Okay, so we'll hit girls basketball
real quick.
Big time in the next few weeks. But really quick, Sean, we've already had a couple. The teams are set. We've already had a couple games. It's amazing. Basketball is here. What are you hearing? What are you seeing so far from 6A all the way down to 1A?
Well, I mean, the big thing I saw is Rigby girls played the two teams that were in the 6A final last year, Hawaii and Boise, and beat them pretty easily. So
yeah,
I don't know if that's, I mean, Hawaii did have a ton of seniors, and so did Boise. So I mean, it's kind of apples to oranges, but Boise and Hawaii have been two super competitive boys or girls programs in 6A, because I've covered 6A state the last 2 years. I've gotten really familiar with these teams, and also Rigby from being up there. So that's a pretty good start from Rigby. It'll be interesting to see where it goes from that. I think Madison will also have a good basketball team as well. All those same volleyball cast of characters will be suiting up for the hoops as well. So 6A will be fun. It'll be fun. But right now, Rigby off to a really hot start.
Yeah, for sure. And then, Pokey, Sugar Salem, Rockland, all defending their titles this year.
Yeah.
Pokey's got Abby Lusk along with them for one more year or for one more season. So really interested to see what Pokey can do.
Without Kenna Garza.
But without Kenna Garza, exactly right. So it's going to be interesting what they do to shore that up down low.
Shaq without Kobe, or what, vice versa.
Right.
It'll be a little, it'll be different. I think Lusk is a good enough player to make this Thunder team still roll, and they had a bunch of young players too that are incorporating in. So I think they would be kind of the 5A team I would keep my eye out for, as well. Maybe a Blackfoot or even an Idaho Falls team that comes back pretty strong. But again, District 6, we could say one team today, and by the end of the season, it could be a totally different team.
Yeah.
And that's just District 6. But I mean, you'd have to imagine Hillcrest has to be good, right? Girls soccer, volleyball, football. Like it's
they've been trending up and up.
Hillcrest has been having a year, and especially in girls, right? I mean, so far doing a phenomenal job in the girls realm. So I would imagine some of those girls translate into basketball and especially volleyball. So I would imagine Hillcrest girls are going to be strong as well.
Yeah. And then 1A, we got a similar cast of characters from volleyball to basketball. Do you still like Rockland this year?
I do. I feel like Rockland will be strong. You've got again in that conference, you've got teams that are gonna, we're gonna get 2 or 3 teams in. I think they'll both be good. But Rockland right now, I think, is a team I'd keep my eye out. As always in any sort of, when it comes to basketball, you've got to think Rockland. I was trying to see if they'd played already, and Rockland's already played once. And a lot of times they play some of their conference early.
Right.
Rockland played Dietrich already, winning 53-28. So I do like Rockland. Again, Grace Lutherans, you got to always, keep an eye on Grace Lutheran. maybe a Chalice. A lot of teams haven't played yet, so that will be very fun.
Yeah, for sure. I was also making sure that some other teams haven't played yet, but we'll for sure hit girls basketball really hard the next few weeks and give you a good intro into the best teams coming from 6 all the way to 1A. Girls basketball is such a good time, and you and I have done a ton of games for girls hoops, both at state and during the regular season.
Yeah,
and then
I hate how the season starts.
I know,
right? Like it gets so foreshadowed
Yeah.
by the football. So I'm glad we were able to get a little bit out here. And again, if don't forget to like and subscribe when you see this later, right? On whatever platform you eat this up at. But and if you're going through and listen to this and you think there's a good team or something, Sean, Joel, you need to check out Soda Springs. They got, check this out. Let us know, because there's so many teams, and I'm sure there's many interesting stories we just don't get, but we'd love to share them with everyone.
Yeah, love it, Sean. That's great. And we'll end there. For Sean Kane, I'm Joel Richardson saying be excellent to each other. Have a great week. And we'll see you next time on the East Idaho Prepcast on IdahoSports.com.